It's now 30 years since humans disappeared from the Earth. At night, the only light comes from the moon and the stars. Once we created a perpetual daylight that could be seen from space. For the past few months, there have been hundreds of strange shooting stars. A few make it to the ground. These are not normal meteorites. These shooting stars are some of the last survivors of the space age. We left 25,000 objects orbiting the Earth. Most of it was junk, from clamps to pieces of rockets. The garbage of our 50 years working in space. And without us, there's nothing to stop it falling back home. Every 11 years, solar storms erupt on the surface of the sun. Their radiation causes the Earth's atmosphere to expand. This slows satellites and space junk down. Satellites in higher orbits have been slowly spiraling closer to the Earth for the last 30 years. Now, they plummet to the ground. The world has changed since the satellites were last on Earth. Human homes are slowly collapsing. For 3 decades, animals have been eating through roofs and walls. Dirt and seeds are blown into houses. Living rooms become homes for trees. Rain falls into dining rooms and kitchens. Ceilings and floors rot and fall apart. Schools once taught that humans triumphed over nature. But in just 30 years, nature has reclaimed most of what humans had taken away. The changes to the planet are especially obvious along the world's coastlines. We built many of our cities and homes near the oceans. Now, buildings are being washed away by hurricanes. Mansions and cottages are erased from Miami to Halifax. The oceans are still reacting to global warming. While houses collapse on land, at least 50,000 ships are strewn along seashores or rusting on the sea bottom. These shipwrecks become a magnet for sharks and other fish. The ruined ships provide thousands of new places for fish to live and breed. It took us 10,000 years to force our will on the planet. Now, nature is invading civilization's citadel, the concrete jungle. It is now 30 years after people vanished. The power has long since failed. The jarring screech of cars and jets will never be heard again. Our cities are still filled with life. While Wild dogs hunt in packs, roaming the roads and sidewalks we once roamed. New York's massive Central Park is on the move. Dirt and seeds are blown through the city. They take root everywhere. Much of the world once turned its eyes to Times Square to mark the start of a new year. Now it's disappearing under a blanket of green. Nature is reclaiming the world city by city. In London, young trees are sprouting in Trafalgar Square. In Berlin, a forest surrounds the Brandenburg Gate, separating what was once the division of East and West Germany. 30 years after we vanished, glass is tumbling onto the deserted streets. The glass-covered office tower was once a symbol of the modern age. There was more glass in one skyscraper than all of the glass made during the Roman Empire. But most skyscrapers relied on caulking and metal clips to keep the windows in place. After 30 years, clips are rusting. Caulking is cracked and brittle. Water gets into the cracks. The frames are getting weak. The city's once sparse hunting grounds are filled with prey. The concrete jungle is turning into the real thing. Almost all of the relics of human existence are slowly disintegrating. After years of neglect, paint peels away. Raw metal is exposed to the elements. Rust spreads unchecked. Not everything rusts. Plastic molecules are so big that they can't be eaten by bacteria or bugs. The New World simply buries anything made of plastic. But plastic does have one enemy: fire. Wildfires sparked by lightning destroy any plastic they meet. Whole neighborhoods are consumed. The steady march of nature is conquering concrete, too. This was once a train station, crowded with commuters. Now its concrete roof is falling apart. Rain is washing out of the limestone used to make it. Stalactites grow a centimeter every year and then break off, slowly weakening the concrete. We may be gone, but one of our legacies is helping speed this destruction. For over 100 years, we burned fossil fuels. We pumped tons of carbon dioxide into the air. As it returns to Earth, the carbon dioxide mixes with rainwater, producing carbonic acid, which eats away at the world's concrete. We built much of our modern world from concrete. Cities all over the world are facing the same fate, a slow disintegration as nature reclaims the planet. Without windows, nothing stops birds and animals from taking up the corner offices we once valued so highly. But offices weren't meant to be exposed to the elements. Ceiling tiles and drywall are no match for 60 years of wind and rain. There's rust everywhere. Without us around to do repairs, paint is peeling unchecked. Our world is falling apart. A city like Paris gets up to 63 centimeters of rain every year. The concrete skeleton of this office tower, once protected from the elements, is now getting soaked by rain. The cracks are caused when carbon dioxide penetrates the concrete. It now encounters a maze of microscopic pores. It winds into the concrete until it reaches the metal that gave this building extra strength. This rebar is usually hidden from the outside world, but now the carbon dioxide is causing the bars to rust. The rusted surface expands to 10 times its normal size. Cracks radiate out to the surface. They spread like a cancer, attacking the building from the inside out. Cracks are appearing all over the world, and there's no one around to fix them. When people walked and worked on the planet, we'd repair problems like this. Cracked concrete would be reinforced or replaced. But now the process runs unchecked. As water turns to ice, it expands, putting more pressure on the crumbling buildings. The constant freezing and thawing helps the cracks grow. It takes just 100 years. Without us, the concrete has become too fractured and brittle to support its load. Floors collapse, crashing down on the weakened concrete below. Our cities, once the center of our modern world, are disappearing. Bit by bit, the planet is absorbing what we left behind. During our time on Earth, we tried to control nature, turn its power to our advantage.